Hey, this is Professor Perez again. Now we're going to do part 2 of our introduction to decimals. Charlie says he's busy doing his homework. Let's see what he's up to. Charlie, what are you doing over there? You're supposed to be doing your homework. I didn't tell you to sleep for your homework. Anyway, let's get started right there. Anyway, in part 1, we were reading decimal numbers and converting them to fractions. Now we're going to do the reverse. We're going to start with the fraction and now convert these to decimals. So pay attention, Charlie. Now, let's see if you learned anything. How do you read that fraction? 900. Very nice. I guess he did do something. Anyway, we have 9 hundredths. It's that simple. That's how you say it. So, how do we write this in decimal notation, Charlie? Well, pay attention to this. I'm going to help you out. I'll give you a kung fu move. Notice the denominator is 100. Remember, decimal representations are basically fractions whose denominators are powers of 10. Here we have 10 squared, which is 100, which means we have 2 zeros. So a lot of people just count the zeros and say, oh, I know I need to have 2 decimal place values, because that will give us a decimal representation that terminates in the hundredths place. Now, how many hundredths do we have, Charlie? 9. That's right, and we put a 0 for our place value, and there it is, 9 hundredths. So 9 over 100 is written as 0.09, which is, of course, 9 hundredths. Let's do another one. Okay, Charlie, read that fraction for us. 41 hundredths. That's right. Okay, so we have 41 hundredths. Again, we count the zeros there. There's 2 zeros, which means we have to have 2 decimal place values, which means, how many do we have, Charlie? 41. 41. Very nice there, Charlie. 41 hundredths. Let's continue on. How about this one right here? 3 1,000ths. Don't get scared. Remember, it means 3 divided by 1,000. And so we have 3 1,000ths. Now notice, how many zeros do we have, Charlie? 3. That's right. And so we'll put 3 place values there. Notice our decimal terminates, of course, in the 1,000ths, because that's what we have. How many 1,000ths do we have, Charlie? 3. 3. We put some zeros for our placeholder, and there is the decimal representation. Again, if you have a calculator and do 3 divided by 1,000, you will get 0.003. Okay, Charlie, let's do another one. How do you say this fraction? 1,314. 100 thousandths. Very nice there, Charlie. That's correct. Okay, how many zeros do we have? 5? That's right. So we have 5 place values, and notice our decimal will terminate in the 100,000ths place. Very nice there, Charlie. Now, how many 100,000ths do we have? 1,314. That's right, and we put that 0 for the placeholder, and there is our fraction written as a decimal. Very nice there, Charlie. So let's do another one. Ooh, 3/4. Now notice, this denominator is not a power of 10. Which means we have to do what, Charlie? Long division? That's right. Is that going to be on the test? Of course it's going to be on the test. What do you think we're doing this for? Anyway, 3/4 means 3 divided by 4. And so what we have to calculate now is how many times does 4 go into a 3? That's what we got to do. And so what we say here, okay, 4 won't go into the 3, so we need to bring in a decimal number. And so notice we line up our decimals, the 0 is a placeholder, and now we bring a 0 down and say, okay, 4 goes into 30, how many times, Charlie? 7. 7. That's because 7 times 4 is 28. That's right. And now we subtract, what's 30 subtract 28? 2. 2. Very nice there, Charlie. Now, does 4 go into 2? No. So we bring another 0 and bring it down. Now, how many times does 4 go into 20? 5. 5, because 5 times 4 is 20. You subtract and you get a 0. Now, that we do not have a remainder means that 3/4 is represented by the decimal notation 0.75. So let's write that down. 3/4 equals 0.75, which is what, Charlie? 75 hundredths. 75 hundredths, that's right. So 3/4 written as a decimal is 0.75, or 75 hundredths, and as a fraction, of course, it's 75 over 100, And if you take 75 and divide by 100, you'll get 0.75. Or if you reduce 75 over 100 by dividing top and bottom by 25, you do get 3/4. All right, Charlie, let's do one more. 3 over 8, that means 3/8. Again, we have to find out how many times does 8 go into 3. And we need to bring in our decimals, so we'll put our 0 placeholder up on top there. We bring a 0 down. 8 goes into 30 how many times, Charlie? 3. 3. 3 times 8 is 24. We subtract, what's 30 subtract 24? 6. 6. So we got to continue on. We bring down a 0. 8 goes into 60 how many times, Charlie? 7? 7, because 8 times 7 is 56. Very nice there, Charlie. Now, what's 60 subtract 56?
4.
4. So we got to continue on again. We bring down another 0. And so, how many times does 8 go into 40, Charlie?
5 times.
5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. We subtract, we get 0. So there you go, Charlie. 3/8 is actually 0.375, which is 375 thousandths, right? Again, if you reduce 375 over 1,000, you'll end up at 3/8. But the decimal representation is 0.375. Now, all fractions can be written in a decimal representation. Some fractions have decimal representations that terminate, or some fractions have decimal representations that go on forever and ever and never end. But for those that never end, there is always a pattern to it. So you can talk to your teacher, your facilitator, your tutor, your parents about that. Anyway, that completes our presentation on Introduction to Decimals. We'll see you all again soon.